Dr. Jaffe, is it possible to measure the number of reactive lymphocytes in smaller percentage windows? For example, if 10% of lymphocytes are reactive in a certain antigen, to a certain antigen, and if so, would there be a different avoidance time necessary? Continuing that example, if only 10% of the lymphocytes are reactive, could the avoidance time be less than 3 months?
A very sophisticated question. It has to do with what percentage of cells react to what specific antigens. And it is a very good clinical question. But if you understood immunology, what you would understand is when cells recognize something as foreign, they send out all sorts of messages to all sorts of other cells saying, be on alert, we've just been invaded. So we get the question, at least I've gotten the question many, many times over the years, could we give a percentage reactivity, 10, 50, 90% reactivity to a specific antigen, and how would that correlate with the avoidance time or the substitution time? And the answer is we have community-based outcome data that says our whole program works comprehensively and effectively. In the most difficult cases, from type 1 to type 2 diabetes, from fibromyalgia to adrenal dysfunction and other autoimmune, self-attacking, or chronic inflammatory repair deficit conditions. At any given moment in time, if we had 30 ounces of blood, which that's about the amount you might donate in a blood bank. If we had many, many, many ounces of blood, and if we wanted to spend maybe $1,000 per item tested, notice how quickly the costs go up when you want to know a difference between a meaningful reaction, which is what the LRA test measures, and the answer to that sophisticated question, what if it's 10% versus 30% at any given moment in time? And what if tomorrow it is 50% because of some reason or other, and then the next day it's 40%? And is that difference meaningful? What we have done is put into practice and proven in community-based outcome studies the validity of our system. We would always like to improve upon the system, and if you could show me how to do a cell culture with less than 3% variance and also at the same time measure the percentage of cells that are reacting to that specific antigen at that specific time, we might be able to do other outcome studies. And yes, I know that there are many clinicians, many nutritionists, many health coaches who want people to get better tomorrow. They want people to get better quickly. They want to be able to substitute and avoid for a shorter period of time. Our experience is that even moderate reactions require a 3-month substitution, and significant reactions, a 6-month substitution, during which you are intensively repairing, renewing, getting the good stuff in and the bad stuff out. And that takes more than a few minutes. So yes, we are interested in the question of proportions and percentages, but we don't have enough specimen nor enough money to differentiate whether your reaction to gluten or gliadin is at the 20% level versus the 40% level. And so when we standardize the test, and we do standardize each antigen and we purify each antigen because that is important to the quality of the procedure. When we standardize each antigen, we do look at the reactivity, but not the percentage. And while I understand the clinician's desire to modify each individual's recommendation based on the percentage of reactivity to each of the items to which the person reacts, I think, from my clinical observation, that wouldn't really improve the outcomes. In fact, it would allow people to cut corners. And just as an added footnote, very often when people follow our program, after 4 to 6 weeks, they're feeling much better. And they look for reasons to go back to old habits, to not continue and persevere through the 3 to 6 month program of substitution and repair. And we emphasize to our clinical colleagues that when people feel better, they're not yet well. The good news is they're in repair phase. That's where we want them to be, but it's going to take months to undo the years or decades of impaired function that have presented as the individual with the chronic inflammatory repair deficient condition or the autoimmune self-attacking condition. In fact, just being able to restore tolerance in the immune defense and repair system is something that we have helped pioneer. And at a time in the early 80s when people were saying, once you lose tolerance, you're going to be hypersensitive for life. The world is going to be a hostile place, environmentally, nutritionally, for life. We didn't accept that. We thought if you took a comprehensive approach to looking at what people are consuming, hydrating, thinking and doing, eat, drink, think, do, that we could put to the test the idea that people can in fact recover and thrive, can be really highly well and healthy in this 21st century stressed out, intoxicated, virally loaded environment. With appreciation for the question, very often in clinical medicine, we need to know how to guide people to better health. And we would like to have more sophisticated information like, is it 10, 20, 30%? And what does that mean? I'm telling you, we have a lot of studies to do before we would know what it meant. And in the meantime, if you're willing to take yes for an answer, follow the results of the LRA by ELISA ACT test and the other predictive biomarkers if possible, bring them to their best outcome goal values, live and be well.